Hi, welcome. On this video is part three of my just when I thought I was out, I'm back in, okay, as it relates to responding to the mess of the dog training community. And again, when I watched this video put out by David Miracle K-9, he just goes through it and, as again, seeing the controversy for what it is. And you're seeing again the balanced dog training community like on fire. And the flames are just getting higher and higher here. And there's so much even in this podcast I didn't even know about. Okay, all this back and forth, these individuals, just virtue signaling. He mentions that, and people trying to you know, um, gain kind of social media attention and then calling each other out and see the Dylan Jones and Larry Crone, and David gets into all of it. So again, just offering and kind of filling in some more gaps here for people, talking through it. Let's play some more of this as David continues to talk through this whole controversy situation.
And posted it. And this is somebody that also, if you go on his page, I don't know him personally, but all the people I know up in Toronto know this guy.
Okay.
Right. And all of them have phenomenal things to say about this individual.
Right.
Right. Like he posts really, like he looks like dude knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Right. So whatever. So that happened like 6 months ago, dude.
Right.
So this fucking Antonio dude makes this video about proper use of punishment using this guy's video, right? Like 6 months later, from the IIC page of him giving his just personal take on things, right? And here's the problem, right? In it, he's talking about how to use punishment and how not to use punishment.
Yeah.
And though he didn't say anything egregiously wrong in it, there were a lot of things that he said that were like, yo, dude, it's way more nuanced than that, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's not really actually how it is, right? Like,
Okay.
like there's a lot of things he said that are either, objectively or subjectively kind of just wrong or more nuanced than he made it seem.
Right.
Right? And he posted it from the ICP page, and it kills me because, like, who gave this dude the power to, like the ICP, like I said, the reason why I'm fired up about this is, like, this was the organization. This is, like, the equivalent of if, like, the fucking American College of Veterinarian Behaviorists, which is like this prestigious organization.
So I talked about this in the past, these associations, okay? And, people are looking for credentialing in the dog training community, like, how do I align myself with some association or to, to leverage myself as a dog trainer. And what I tell people is understand what you're dealing with here with these associations. I talk about what is being marketed, okay, in the dog training world is a process, okay? It's inherently flawed and corrupt at its core, okay? And this is why you're seeing all this controversy. This is why you're seeing all the controversy I talk about in my Flipping the Script series. Things are falling apart. Now you're seeing this exploding. I tell people, don't waste your money. Don't waste your time. As an individual, apply critical thinking and think for yourself, okay? Chart your own path. And when I say path, it means, again, talk about a process. It's a intervention. It's not a learning-based exercise the way it's being marketed by all these trainers and these organizations. And now you're seeing it. It's like, consider all the information I'm putting out. And the system of training. I don't just talk about the problems, but, and I'm not saying this to market myself that way, but I offer a trainer's course. It's aligns with a association, okay, to develop you as a trainer. It's based on a real standard, and just, take a look around the dog training community. So, but, is the information I put out easy? No, it's challenging. It's hard, especially if you identify as a mainstream dog trainer. So, but again, look at it. So I would encourage people really pay attention to what's going on here in these situations.
Because that's what the ICP was putting themselves out to be, this prestigious organization of the balance side. That's like if they just gave some like fucking the next famous TikTok veterinarian just full access to their page and they started just posting like personal like talking clips about their stances on things.
Yeah.
Like it's like, whoa, like what are we doing here?
Yeah, I don't know.
What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Right? So he posted this video like just talking tons of shit. And that video now has started to fucking go viral, right? Because all these trainers are like pointing out the flaws in what he says, and also are like, why are you posting these things from the IACP? Like, what the fuck is going on right now? Right? So, so that happened. Then yesterday, right? Dude, Antonio, doubles down on the post. He makes a reaction post to all the people that were talking about the fucking, like the video and how it's going wrong. Yeah. And he makes a reaction post to Sean O'Shea's post talking about how bad it is, who is another person that the balanced dog training community has basically been like, he's the fucking reason why the force-free community doesn't like us. Hey, shocker. Sean O'Shea is not the reason why the force-free community. If Sean O'Shea never existed, and Jeff Gellman's another one they say is like the reason why the force-free community doesn't like us, if those people didn't exist, they would still fucking hate you, Larry Crone. They would still fucking hate you, Robert Cabral. They would still fucking hate you, insert Antonio fucking Davis. And
so, again, this is comical, right? So here you have Sean O'Shea, balanced dog trainer. You got Jeff Gellman, balanced trainer. I'm not even sure if those two, they were very much closely aligned with each other through seminars in the past and everything. You saw the bonker controversy explode over Jeff Gellman's situation. I talk about that through my Flipping the Script series. But, you see all this divisiveness within the balanced dog training community itself. But it's the confusion over certain methods, right? All relate to, again, talk about punishment. I talk about influence, but this how it's incorporated into a process that's superficial to begin with. I think that's where all the confusion is coming from, the ability to try to justify or reconcile a negative or, influence in the way that they want to bring it in to a process that is not set up to align that way. Okay, I understand that because about choices, free will, how they engage at the beginning of a relationship problem. See, it doesn't reconcile. I talk about that. And so when they're trying to firm up this picture through using, called the four quadrants of negative, you can't firm up a lie that's already set in motion. Okay, you can't firm up something that is inherently flawed. Its core tenet's flawed. So I talk about that, but you have to apply critical thinking. So all this back and forth, these individuals like calling each other out and going after each other, it's all part of the course. Okay, it's all part of what what is the core issue here in terms of what is being marketed as a process.
Any other of these fucking nice balanced dog trainers,
right?
They act like these people would just like them if those people didn't exist. Guys, shocker, they wouldn't. Yeah. They wouldn't like you. No. They still wouldn't like you. They still would be saying all of the things they say about them, about how they're abusive pieces of shit and they all need to fucking go to prison and, should be fucking tortured just like they torture dogs and stuff like that, about every single one of you still.
See, it's the same thing. See, people in terms of appearances, I talk about the inability to reconcile the response of dogs by way of the relationship. That comes from being dialed in the right way. And so you see all this upheaval, but you see all this kind of mob mentality going after trainer and the virtue signaling off of that stuff. It's just a pattern. It's been going on with all these trainers. Whether it's force-free, balanced, with each other, within their own groups. It's just nonstop. It's just nonstop. And now you're seeing things really explode because that's what happens. They end up like eating each other. It's like fish in a fishbowl, right? It's just like, because that's what happens when you embrace a lie. It brings on all this stuff: confusion, divisiveness, anger, offense, right? Because it's not based on the truth, right? So it's like this has been going on since the beginning, but now it's getting worse and worse and worse.
Mm-hmm. They would say it about every single one of you still, right?
Okay.
So whatever. So he makes a reaction post to it, which just blew the internet up yesterday on the IACP page, where like everybody now, like if you go on the IACP here, what do we got? Yeah, here's the reaction post. 130 comments on it that are all just like, dude, like, this is a very poor look for what is supposed to be a professional organization. Like this, yeah, here's one person. This is a very poor look for what is supposed to be a professional organization. I used to be proud of the IACP, and now I'm glad I'm no longer a member. The organization has been having significant leadership issues for years now, and this board has been extremely troublesome in what they allow and how they conduct themselves behind closed doors and outwardly towards others. Yeah, it just kind of goes on. 2 thumbs down for this post. Cringe, wrong place for this. This post should have never been cross-posted from a personal business page to the IACP official page as representation or on behalf of its members. This is really embarrassing and disrespectful to members. The video in the comments is even worse to look at. This is the problem, right? So, like, when the IACP is posting things like this, like, there are so many dog trainers out there that pay to have memberships with them.
Right.
Right? And, yeah, to what this person said, this dude taking it upon himself to make a video about how to use punishment and how not to use punishment is him taking the stand to, like, I'm representing all of our members and our opinions.
Right.
Who the fuck is this? The Conor McGregor thing. Who the fuck is this guy?
Ugh.
Right? It's like, it's just like,
Yeah.
it's just rough, dude. Like, it's rough, right?
Yeah.
So then now everybody, like tons of people, are reposting a bunch of training clips of fucking bro, Antonio Davis, that he's posted from his page, which, dude, like, one of the clips is, that's going right. We'll have to post all of these, obviously, so people could see them.
Yeah.
But there's one clip, this one right here, right? It's this dog snapping and whatever, and
So here's the clip there, and I talked through that clip already. This whole thing with Dylan Jones calling out the president in that clip. The dog reacting, right? I talk about this issue about devices, clarity, and this is the president of this association. So again, all to say, this controversy again. David. Again, you can watch the whole podcast here in its entirety, but he goes through and just talk about the fake and phoniness of of people, okay, of what's happening, the virtue signaling, all of it. It's all again exploding right now, and there's so much happening. Like I said, I have to have 4 full-time people, just to monitor or to be able to comment on everything. I mean, so I kind of hit the high points here, or low points, whatever you want to call it. But again, all to say that again, the dog training world is coming apart at the seams. David he calls it out. I mean, you go through and watch his podcast. He talks with Larry Crone, the whole situation, just and it's ridiculous. And I talk about the problem in the dog training world. So again, I encourage you. You can consider or think about why these things are happening. They're happening. It just seems like every week there's another controversy. The situation here is just like people trying to exploit it. They're trying to use it as a way to gain more traction for themselves. All this back and forth, but again, it's all symptomatic. I understand this all points directly towards what I'm saying is the source of the problem in the dog training world. When you embrace this idea, it brings all this on. And through it all, people are just like, it's just all these different twists and turns and people looking for answers. And you're not going to find answers, okay, in this ideology. Okay. It puts people in a really bad position because it's based on appearances. I talk about, this system of training, either, for those who are looking for answers, go into it in terms of the right motives. Well, it's going to offer real hope, the real picture of change. For those who are already established dog trainers, it's going to offend people. That's just the way it is because it's specific. It's not saying there's more than one way. Like the saying out there, there's more than one way to train a dog. I say, what's that statement based on? It's based on appearances. That's where it comes from. Response. I think about what I'm saying. But when I specifically say no, there is one way to reconcile the core ingredients in a specific way. People get upset because what does that do? Puts them in the position, puts them in the corner. It forces a trade-off because that's really what it is. And so for those already established who are playing the shell game, who are playing the system, and then at the expense of dogs and owners, well, yeah, they're going to be very upset. But if it's really about dogs and people the right way, shouldn't be offended. You should be willing to say, you know what, it is what it is. I care about dogs and people. I'm going to, set my personal feelings aside and put the information to the test. Because everything I say, there's nothing hidden here. Everything I say can be put to the test. So thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Hope you have a great day.